Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Marshall.
I want to just welcome you to this celebration of Barbara Callahan's service. You know, Barbara doesn't like being singled out. She doesn't like being the focus, you know. But I'm trying to draw her out of her shell. And if you believe that. Let me just begin by saying this is a great opportunity to get together, to recognize folks for your accomplishments. But first and foremost, I want to just express our appreciation. Today's our special opportunity each year to say thank you for all that you do and all that everybody affiliated with DFS does each day in support of our mission. As you all know, our mission every day is to support local fire departments, the fire service, our teammates out there who are working every day, as well as to support the public and provide information and support to the administration. And you all do that so well and have for so long. There's so many years of experience represented here. When we look at the drill yard or the ready room or the offices down the hall, we get out in the field and we see all the hard work and all the good work that you're doing. And I wish I had more opportunity to get with you, and I try every chance I get to say thank you, but it's the least we can do is to mark your service and the efforts that you put out every day to make this such a great organization. Maribel and I just left a meeting with the Undersecretary. As always, the Secretary and Undersecretary extend their best wishes and speak to us about the great things that are going on at DFS. And you know, we always have the opportunity to highlight your work, whether it's by your groups or as a whole. And it's easy stuff for us to hold you up as great examples for the Commonwealth as far as meeting organizational goals and working together as a team to accomplish so much. I'm struck too by this day, the fact that we have, we just saw our first day students coming out of the 127 heading out onto the drill yard. And tonight we have graduation for a recruit class, Call Ball recruit class down in Bridgewater. And that really bookends the recruit experience. But we know how much the organization touches every aspect of the fire service. And without you and your tremendous thought process, your willingness to put things out there, we wouldn't have any of these programs. I'm also struck by current events. It seems we go through fits and starts in a variety of areas. Sadly, we've had a number of serious fires across the Commonwealth. This year has been difficult with respect to loss of life. You know, we join those communities that suffer the loss of their community members like Worcester and Oxford and so many others across the Commonwealth. But I can tell you every single day, you know, we hear how much that support means to the families, to the community leaders when we're out there. I'm also struck by, you know, standing here in the side yard last week, I believe it was, with the gas industry and marking one of their teammates, I think more than 40 years of service to that program and to the work that and the partnership that we've had with P-Gain and NGA and so many others. And today we're going to hear about some of the many projects that have been undertaken, but that were moved forward for consideration and are going to receive recognition because there's just so much going on. You know, when we look at the fire code, when we look at the building code work, when we look at all the subcommittee work and the policies and protocols. It's not lost on us that in spite of all that work, you all are accomplishing so much every day. So again, let me begin today's celebration of service and recognition with thank you. Thank you to all of you and all your teammates for making our organization strong, for letting us accomplish so much, and for our collective work, continuing on in the future as I know it will. So thank you. I'm going to start off here with the Performance Recognition Program. As you're aware, the Commonwealth has a program for state employees, which is the opportunity to recognize people across the Commonwealth's infrastructure for their contributions to the Commonwealth's efforts to support communities and to do the right thing in the various areas that each secretariat represents. And you also know, and again, we have regular conversations with the executive office and the administration about the fact that we're a pretty unique organization in that we have so many contractors who work so hard on the Commonwealth's behalf every single day. And so we also take this opportunity to recognize the contributions of all the contractors, which I think is, while this department is unique in that respect, I relish that opportunity to thank all of those folks who contribute so much through this process. So first, we're going to just talk about the Commonwealth's Performance Recognition Program. The criteria for consideration is a full-time employee who has been with DFS for at least 2 years. The employee may be nominated by a supervisor, peers, professional colleagues, or others familiar with the person's work. In particular, there's emphasis on attainment of high priority or agency objectives, exceptional managerial, organizational, and/or communications achievements, exemplary leadership, achievement of significant improvements in productivity and/or savings in agency operations. Based on our number of full-time employees, our agency has allowed 3 awards for outstanding performance. Since we rely heavily on our contractor staff, we also provide our own award to provide recognition to a contract employee. This year, as has been the historical approach to this, we have a selection committee here at DFS, and that selection committee included Mike McLaughlin, Mark Dickinson, Aubrey Lazar, and Mary Travers. The governor recognized our full-time employee award recipient this year at a virtual event held on March 30th, 2022. We are pleased to recognize Jennifer Hoyt today. So I know firsthand about this nomination because I see Jen's work as she is my designee to the BBRS, the Board of Building Regulations and Standards. And for that, she should probably get a medal from Congress or something like that, because it's been just an incredible amount of work and effort and time. And we have given her absolutely no relief from her regular responsibilities. So over the course of this past year, Jen has been at the forefront of technical review of the most recent editions of the National Consensus Fire and Building Codes from the National Fire Protection Association and the International Code Council, respectively. These codes form the basis of the Massachusetts Comprehensive Fire Safety Code, 527 CMR1, and the Massachusetts State Building Code, 780 CMR, both of which have far-reaching consequences for the public and regulated industries alike. In this role, she has been a champion for key changes in both codes to ensure that they work in unison to reduce the risk of fire and life safety hazards. Jen is keenly attuned to the emerging technologies and was instrumental in the VFPR becoming an early adopter of the new NFPA regulations for hydrogen fuel refueling, cannabis, and energy storage systems. Now I like to kind of razz Jen on a regular basis about her extensive work in the cannabis industry. We'll leave that behind. I don't know if there's snacks left after we get done, but maybe you can talk about that with her over munchies. But I want to extend my personal thanks and recognize on behalf of the department, Jen Hoyt, as this year's recipient of our award. Thank you. You know, this group over here is going to moan and groan as soon as I say this, so be prepared. But I too often say, everything that comes in the door here touches every division in this place. And I think the work that Jen does really exemplifies that, you know, we see the issues dealing with emerging technologies or fire code issues or building code issues, and those lend towards us being able to address, you know, those safety issues and so forth in the codes going forward. And it's a great example of, we might pick something up through fire investigation and it winds up in codes, it winds up in training, it winds up in special ops. It really bounces all through our organization. And I really appreciate the work that you do in that regard. So thank you, Jen. Our next award is for the GFS Virtual Classroom. This is the Full-Time Employee Group Award, and it's being presented to Heather Antel, Abby Baker, Julie Bergeron, Paul Betty, Christine Dansereau, Kyla McKenzie, Christina Mitchell, Susan Monty Sykes, and Samantha Turk. So those folks, if you're here, please come forward.
Of course. Isn't that the way?
Now, someday, we're going to be able to think about COVID with hindsight. We're going to be able to look back and say, maybe it was all just a bad dream. But I will say this. Over time, Maribel and I had hopes of advancing our distance learning and our ability to service our students, more students, by use of technology. And as you all know, that rapidly accelerated given the fact that we couldn't have anybody in the building. And we still had to service our customers. So to the credit of this team, they implemented a brand new virtual educational platform on very short notice, without a doubt, due to the COVID pandemic. Without the implementation, the Department of Fire Services would not have been able to deliver any training due to strict human contact policies during the COVID pandemic. The specific tasks this team completed to achieve this goal were piloting the Adobe Connect software. That should also include identifying that, because I know that you all contributed to the analysis that took place to identify what product we were going to go with. Creating visual job aids, creating training videos, how-to documents for our students. They trained 32 hosts and 194 presenters, uploaded and vetted 46 training presentations, delivered 555 virtual training days 0 to 3,856 students in 1 year. So it's my great privilege to present state citations to these employees for your contribution to this DFS virtual classroom project. Congratulations.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Come right here, keep going.
Oh. Caught on a hot mic, Christine Danswell. Congratulations. Same. Congratulations. Yeah, thank you.
I got it.
All right. Don't run off, kids. As I mentioned, we had a vast array of talent that came to bear on this project as well. So you've heard about our full-time staff that was recognized through PRP. The department also wants to recognize the contributions of the contractors who, again, put in incredible time and effort to meet this demand and make this such a great accomplishment. I would also note this really sets the stage for us to be able to do more great things in the future as we address the number of students that seems to be increasing and the number of courses that we want to increase as well. So if those folks are here, I'd also like to call up the contracted employees: Richard Ayers, William Barry, Al Beardsley, Mike Boucher, Steve Chandler, Richard Craven, Dennis Foley, Pat Haskell, Mike Haslam, Pete Jerusik, Scott MacArthur, Paul McPhail, Jason Messenger, Peter Raposa, David Rex, Doug Robertson, Rob Rogowski, Josh Shanley, Jonathan Tipley, Gene Oz, Matthew Ernst, Michael Quinn, and Stephen Lemieux. Everybody left? Incredible. Thank you. Congratulations. I want to express my appreciation too to the committee for their hard work. I know that they had a number of nominations to consider, and a lot of hard work was put into that. And I would also encourage you all, from your different perspectives, to make sure that you consider nominations in the next round, because we all see the actions that you're all taking and the work that you're all doing, but it's really helpful to make sure that we're aware of it from your perspectives as well. So please do make those nominations when they're called for the next time we do the PRP solicitation. All right. As a little tradition that we also have started for this event is I'm going to ask the division directors to come forward and speak to their division as we recognize the individual members for your years of service. I think, again, when we look at, we would probably break a lot of calculators if we tried to put together the number of years of service across our organization. It's just incredible. And I think it speaks volumes too, that when we hear of people who have been here 20, 30, 40 years, it speaks volumes about this organization and about all of you. Because especially in today's day and age, it's easy for people to move on to the next best thing. But it just speaks volumes of you and the organization that you've put together through your hard work. That we have people who come here and stay here for a long time. And I know too that it's not for the money. But the fact of the matter is you're committed to this effort, you're committed to each other, and it shows, as you're going to see this afternoon. So I think I have to make some commercial announcements here. This is years of service as of June 30th, 2021. Certificates and pins can be picked up after the event in the executive office. Those earning 20 years of service will be added to the plaque on the second floor of the administration building. And then you move through the categories after 20 years. So when you're here for your 60th, Barbara, we will make sure that you are on. So to lead off, let me do this. I'm going to just, while I have the strength to continue standing up, I want to recognize a couple of people from the executive office and from legal. This year we celebrate John Malloy. Is John with us today? As you know, John is our safety officer. He's doing a tremendous amount of work for us. Been a great addition to our team, and we're celebrating 5 years of service from John Malloy. So if you see John, please recognize him for that. We've had a couple of defections, as you all know. And last year we did this by tribute by video because of the circumstances that were upon us. And certainly if he was here, I'd be busting him heavy. But today we also celebrate Steve Rourke for 25 years with the department. So even though he jumped ship for this retirement thing that everybody's talking about, you know, Steve did 25 years of great service to the department, effectively since the origination of DFS. So as we celebrate, you know, 25 years of DFS here as an organization, Steve apparently came with the legislation. So I thought it would take legislation to get rid of him. Turns out a monthly check would do the same. So if you see Steve, he's still doing some work for us. Congratulate him and thank him for his 25 years of leadership and service. Now, we have a new member of the legal team. So as you know, Peter and Steve, they came as a package and almost left as a package. We hired a couple of lawyers since then. Glenn Rooney would normally be here speaking to this. And unfortunately, or fortunately for him, he's on vacation. So I hope he's having a great vacation. We were going to press our new Deputy General Counsel, Jay, into service and have him speak to the next one. But he's opted, since he's only been here for like 2 weeks, he'll pass on that. But I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate Mary Elizabeth Lynch for 15 years of service in the legal department. We've done a lot of research, and we really were unable to find out for those 10 years from the start of DFS until Mary Elizabeth here, how the lawyers function. But we now know that she had 10 years of backlog to clear up, as well as her 15 years of service. So thank you, Mary Elizabeth, and congratulations. And now I think I'm going to turn it over to the deputy to carry on with the next EXO recognition.
Sheila wasn't able to be with us today, so she kindly wrote up some nice words for some of our employees and some of the staff that she's worked with for over the past many years. So Matt, pay attention, this only happens once every 30 years. We all know Matt. Obviously, Matt worked for DFS for a very long time on the IT department. That kind of got consolidated under EOTSS, ABZ, whatever they're called nowadays. But he's still a hardworking employee here at DFS. And we feel that should still be acknowledged. Matt's been here at DFS 30 years, which is a huge accomplishment.
Woo!
30 years, Matt has been a profound impact both behind the scenes as well as a public-facing employee of DFS. Matt is unique in his talent, and that is he is that no project is never too small or too big. He's always 100% willing to collaborate and pitch in to make the IT resources meet the customer's needs. He is a remarkable employee that can jump up into daily operations, strategic planning, and equal ability. One of the things I've enjoyed most about working with Matt these past several years has been his knack for proposing multiple solutions with a focus not only on outcome, but the affordability, scalability, and sustainability of the solution. Matt has consistently worked at a high level, often working long hours at great personal sacrifice. Unfortunately, because he is so good at what he does, DFS often has to fight with other agencies to have him assigned to our own projects. But we are grateful for his many years of service and look forward to many more. I personally have worked with Matt since when he was an IT in here, and we started off in the red trailers. We joke about it because we're only a few months apart in age, and our kids are like 20 years apart. So I always rhyme about that. I'm so far ahead of him. But he is dedicated to DFS. I mean, he can tell you where all the skeletons are hidden here. It's been a pleasure to work with him. So Matt, thank you for your 30 years here at DFS. Next, we're going to go over to our fiscal department. Miss Beth Hill is celebrating 25 years of service here at DFS. Beth Hill started her career back in 1995 at the Fire Academy as a scheduling assistant. This was before Bill Hollick was the Academy director. After 25 years, she has done a little bit of everything. Not only has she seen a lot of growth at DFS, but she has been a key player in helping the agency grow. She has worked on so many projects, grants, and contracts, quite often in the background, avoiding being noticed. Although the things she was doing very well are still very important. Some of the things Beth has worked on. Beth's first influx of Homeland Security grants after the September 11th attacks, aggressively outsourcing state-of-the-art equipment and protective gear. Hurricane Katrina. Response whereby Beth assigned and purchasing equipment to stand up Joint Base Cape Cod for displaced residents. The expansion of DFS Stowe property. And the acquisition and build-out of both Springfield and Bridgewater, where she has been a successful and strong advocate with the administrative and the legislature to increase funding for DFS. And of course, the COVID-19 pandemic, which she has worked long nights and weekends alongside of many of you to ensure the agency was supported with funding, staffing, and resources. After 25 years, Beth has risen to the position of Chief Financial Officer or CFO. I like to fondly tell her that CFO really means for cautious, frugal, and obsessive. But in reality, the reason she is so very successful is what she does is truly she does care about the success of each of our missions. She digs in deep to find creative solutions and always finds a way to smile through the toughest days. Congratulations on 25 years and cheers to 25 more. And we celebrate two more employees, part of the fiscal department. The one and only, Barbara Callahan, 5 years. Casey Ruderman, 5 years as well. That's my I speaking partial to? Right, you're up.
Who's that?
Oh, Fred, awesome.
But you did such a great job, I think you should just keep going.
That'll be like tonight at call ball.
Well, I definitely can't top the Marshall speech, so I'm just gonna say that I'd like to recognize the following facility staff for the years of service and their support to the agency. I have a few full-time employees I'd like to mention. With 5 years of service is Kevin McCarthy, who's with us here today. Kevin does a lot, he puts out fires, no pun intended, every day. Deals with all of the things that keep us comfortable and safe, so thank you, Kevin, for making my job easier. Vicky Guerrier, I don't think he's here today.
No, but you pick it up.
So Vicky supports, she works in Springfield, she supports both facilities and FSD. So if you see Vicky, wish her congratulations. The third full-time employee is Michelle Hebert. I think everybody knows Michelle. She's held multiple capacities within the crib and support branch. She is currently the crib room coordinator, and she has 20 years of service.
All right.
So I'd like to read off the names of 5-year recipients. They all appear to be contractors, most of them from Springfield. Pat Scanlon, Adam Boucher, Josh Chapels, Michael Burnell, who's Stowe, Rob Kaufman, Chad Cunningham, Dan Genie, Stefan Matsuko, Derek Myers, David Perry, who has since resigned recently, Sean Reynolds, Scott Russo, Roland Sawyer, Joe Scott, Brian Sterling, Kirsten Terrian, Matt Tarowski, Sean Walker, Jeff Zachary, and Sarah Levy, who has also recently resigned. The majority of those folks are veteran support in Springfield. They've been with us since the very beginning. So if you see any of them, make sure you congratulate them. Next, I'd like to read off 10-year recipients. Matt Labossiere, who is a crib room support coordinator, contractor. Steve Brotherton, Michael Bradford. They're all 10-year recipients. They all work for the support branch. Next, our 15-year recipients, Stephen Furno and Bob Boyd. And then we have the remainder of our 20-year recipients, Paul Pavone, Timothy O'Kane, and John Gilmartin, and John Benoit, I'm sorry, for our the remainder.
Thanks, Fred. It's
Hey, we gave the pins out here, right?
it's hard to believe that Springfield's,
Yeah.
5 years in the rearview mirror.
As
You
of,
know,
as of last
yeah, last July, right? So that's amazing stuff. And we broadened out our team with new folks, and they've really stepped up to the plate, as you can see. It's striking to me, we're out there. I was out there for graduation Friday, and I think it's Brian Sterling. Is he the bagpipe player?
I think he is,
Yes. And then he doffed his bagpipes and he jumped in a piece of apparatus to put the building back together after we got done. So I think that's really awesome stuff. So thank you for all the service from your team. I'd like to ask Lieutenant DeRosa to come forward and recognize our FIU team.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, sir.
So I'm going to do a little bit of a commercial for us, I guess, because in order to really appreciate all the troopers and sergeants and civilian staff that we have, you have to understand a little bit about the unit and the growth that we've had over the last year or so. We went through several years where we rarely got another personnel trooper assigned to the unit. In the last year or so, since the LT Riley got here, we've had 8 troopers assigned to the FIU. We've had 1 added to our bomb squad. Last year, mere months after Mike took over, he was told, hey, listen, down the road, year or two, year and a half, we might be taking on the Massport bomb squad. It'll be nice, it'll be seamless, don't worry about it. So I believe he was called on a Monday and told, hey, by tomorrow, they're coming over tomorrow, and they're not happy about it. So with that addition, that was 12 additional troopers and sergeants that made up that bomb squad. So now, within just the last year, we now have a 55-person unit that comprises the FIU, the statewide bomb squad, as well as the Massport bomb squad. With that addition came additional responsibilities such as their canine unit. We have 10 accelerant detecting canines and 22 explosives detecting canines in our team now. So that's for a total of 32 dogs, when a year and a half ago we had 22, and we were good there, maybe 32, and now we're growing fast. Over the last year, we've also added the clandestine laboratory enforcement team. So that brings in another interesting dynamic of, again, DLT Riley having to oversee not only state police investigators from narcotics, gang unit, and fire investigators, but just the way the tree works, we now have JHURT members that are working with us, hazmat members that are working with us, and we go out as a joint team to serve our municipal partners with fire departments and police departments. So we have a very dynamic group, and the people that work here and contribute to that they're doing a phenomenal job in addition or dealing with this unprecedented growth. So I'm going to start with our lowest number to appreciate, and that's our own boss, DLT Riley, who couldn't be here today. He has 5 years with the organization. We'll just say he's indisposed at the moment. So DLT Riley has 5 years. I think since him coming back, I think most people could appreciate the fact that he's brought a relaxed tone to the unit a little bit more than maybe it was before, and I think people appreciate his approach to things. So I can say from my experience with him bringing me in, and as well as others that I talked to, that it's been a very welcome addition to the unit with DLT Riley. Trooper Steven Seacard also could not be here. He's one of our bomb technicians. He oversees a robotics program for the bomb squad, which is in and of itself a Herculean task. Because of his efforts, we've just added, in the support of the Marshal, we've just added another tracked robot as well as another spot. So we now have 2 spots on the team. But Trooper Seacard, I can't say enough. I mean, he's going to companies such as Boston Dynamics, and he is basically modeling Spot for the rest of the country. He keeps a log, he keeps notes, he has regular conversations with them. They are changing how they are developing their robotics for the entire country and world based on what Steve is telling him. And it's phenomenal work that Steve's been doing, so I want to give him that credit. Trooper Cheryl O'Donnell, longtime fire investigator for the North team. She joined the admin staff within the last year or so to be our evidence and training officer. Cheryl, you've been a phenomenal addition, and the work that you've done, obviously for some that don't know, we have a warehouse full of evidence. A lot of units have rooms full of evidence. We have a warehouse full of evidence. Since her time with the admin staff here in Stowe, she's cleared over 400 cases of evidence out of that storage warehouse through chasing down attorneys who, let's face it, I don't think they like to be chased down very often. These are practicing attorneys that are in court. She's finding ways to track them down and say, hey, you've got to give us a destruction notice so we can get rid of this stuff. We need to make rooms. We need to make room in our warehouse, and you've done a great job. So thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate it. Trooper Michael Fagan has been with the unit for 15 years now, and he's Cheryl's classmate with the state police. They both have 23 years on the state police as a whole, 15 here with the fire marshal's office. In addition to being a fire investigator for the South team, Trooper Fagan is one of our assistant canine trainers, and this is where I'm going to focus a lot of what he does. Not only is he your ultimate teammate, I mean, you call him day or night, and he comes out to you. I worked with him on the South team, and as a new fire investigator, him and Tom really took me under their wing and kind of showed me the ropes. And every time I called, they answered. Even if they couldn't come out, it would be advice. So for a new person coming in to a world that you walk into your first fire or fire scene thinking that maybe you got a grasp on fire investigation, and you realize you don't have a clue what you're doing. and those guys always answered up. So to his efforts with the canine program, he is the person that every canine handler looks to for assistance, for help, for guidance, for deflection from Sergeant Horgan. He is that guy. He has brought our unit so far forward. He is available, just like he was to me as a fire investigator. He is available to every handler, accelerant detection, explosives detection, massport. They all come out, they all seek Mike because he's fair. He gives good, solid advice and instruction. And most people know that if you come to him, you're just going to have a good day of training where you're going to come away with something. You learn something new. Maybe you saw something about your dog that you didn't recognize. Mike sees that and he portrays that. So not only is he a great investigator, a phenomenal canine trainer, but he's a good friend to everybody. So Mike Fagan. Tom Bertolini. I think you have about 25 years on the state police, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there. Definitely ready to retire. Sergeant Tom Bertolini is in charge of our SELT team. As I told you, when I first came in, he was a trooper on the SELT team. He was one of the first people to kind of take me in, show me the ropes, brought me up. We had an office at the Quincy Fire Academy. So he was the first one, handed me keys, said, here you go, this is where we go, this is what we do. And he was a great resource for me when I got here. Since coming back, I left for a while, and since coming back and seeing him as a team leader, he is truly a model for what our fire investigators should be. Again, he answers the phone every time. He goes to every scene. He goes to every scene with tools in hand, which may come from his time as a career firefighter with Canton back in the day. I won't say the newer kids, but let's call them the newer kids. We'll come to the fire scene, no hands, no tools in hand. Just hey, what's going on? What are we doing? What do we have to do? And Tom's usually there. I think he smears some schmutz on his face because it always ends up there.
Steve Cohen's
Yeah. But he shows up ready to work. We recently had a scene that Tom managed. It was a fire involving a homicide that was used to cover up, a fire that was used to cover up a homicide scene. And Tom came in and conducted interviews, was part of almost every small meeting about where we were going as far as evidence, as far as how we were going to process the scene. And then after being on scene for, 8 hours, he then led the ONC team, the Origin and Cause team, to dig through this massive house to try to solidify our origin and cause investigation. So, Tom, your dedication to the unit and just being the role model for people coming in, I do appreciate that. I thank you. Finally, Joanne is celebrating 20 years with the Department of Fire Services. She has 30 years of service to the state and municipal towns as well, but 20 years here at the FIU. There's really not a lot that I have to say about Joanne. When I was here as a trooper and when I'm here now as a lieutenant in the office, she is just the glue that holds the whole thing together. And to appreciate a little bit of what she goes through, she also, like myself and DLT Riley, went from being a program coordinator of a 30-person unit to a 55-person unit. She is processing requests for equipment, for training. I'm yelling at her about how much money do we have in the budget so we can buy this stuff. I'm a dumb guy, and I understand that. Somebody has a baby, she's the one that, hey, we really should send them something. Somebody has a death in the field, hey, Lieutenant, we're sending something, right? We need to. She just is always thinking of what has to be done, and she gets it done. I won't lie, sometimes, if anyone knows Bill Qualls, he wants this widget or that. We have to look online, find pictures, and because we don't know what they're talking about half the time. But Joanne always finds a way to get it done, and truly and honestly, I appreciate all the support that you've given me, what you do for the unit, and I mean, we would not move on or move forward without you there. So, Joanne, truly, thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you to all of our FIU teammates. Congratulations on your recognition. Well deserved. I think now we are on to
hazmat and special ops. So, David?
Thanks, everyone. Dave DiGregorio, I know would rather be here than where he is right now. He's having a little back issue, so he does send his regards. What I'd like to do, we do have a lot of new people in the room compared to the last time we did this in person, is as I read the names, if you could stand up, and I'm looking at Al because he's on the list, so then everyone can know who you are. Not that everyone doesn't know who Al is. So for hazmat, 30 years, we have David Crockett. 20 years, Ron Downing, and then 5 years, Brian Oates and Al Thomas. Now everyone knows who Al is. So for special operations, we have a little bit longer list. We'll follow the same process. Dave Houghton for 30 years. I think Dave's sunning himself by the lake in New Hampshire right now, but 30 years is a long time. Mike Aries, 20 years. Lance Benjamino, 20 years. John Herring, 20 years. Walter Tim Nelson, I didn't know his name was Walter until this, so 20 years. And then 10 years, we have Tim Howe and Dave Monty. 5 years, Jeff Chandler, Jeff Dalton, Larry Fahey, Ben Janelle, John Kelly, Steve Silver, and Dan Torres. That's all we have for special.
Oh, sorry, not hear that. Okay. Maybe I'll go this way.
Oh my God.
Let me go this way.
I can't.
I never know where I'm going. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
Everybody do this.
Hey, like all of you, MFA really was kind of taken back when COVID hit. We knew a product had to be delivered. We had to come up with a different way to do it. And we were able to get it done thanks to so many people who are a part of MFA. And then when it started to wind down and we returned to some sense of whatever normal is now, we found ourselves almost in another crisis where we had so many customers that needed the training that they didn't get for the past couple of years for one reason or another. On top of that, we had standard changes that we had to revamp our programs. And of course, with modern technologies and modern techniques, we had to revamp other programs. So besides calling for more programs, doing it more often than we ever did before, changing it for various reasons, we had a difficult, I don't want to say difficult year, we had a challenging year. But I do believe we rose to the occasion. We do have a few of our instructors now who are the key to delivering our programs out in the field, who now have 5 years in. We're now tapping into those 5-year individuals to become kind of the tutors for the younger instructors that we're bringing in. So besides going out and delivering the program, teaching our customers, they're also overseeing some of the young kids, trying to bring them up to do it the MFA way. Those individuals who now have 5 years are Michael Boucher, Joe Coleman, Rich Craven, Kevin Devana, Matt Ernst, Nicholas Gregario, Michael Grimaldi, Phil Kraus, Sandra Kraus, Stephen Lemieux, Ryan Long, Alexander Merry, Dave Ogilvy, LaShawn Robinson, Anthony Santianello, Jonathan Tiplady, Alan Torrey, and Justin Giannis. We do have a full-time employee who now has reached the 5-year mark. That individual is Mr. Paul Betty. Paul cannot be with us today, but he did want to thank the Academy. We now have 10-year members who have taken on a role of what we refer to as a lead instructor. They basically oversee that day's delivery, whether it be here in the drill yard, in the classroom, or anywhere across the Commonwealth. Those individuals are Tom Bauer, Ryan Brown, Ken McEwen, and Gary Osler. The 15-year members, some of these individuals have taken on even increased duties, doing more administrative work, taking on some of the coordinators roles, which now means also developing programs as they're overseeing individuals who are teaching. And at the same time, we tap into them so often to go out to the field and teach, or even to provide certification examinations. So with 15 years, Mike Barry, Jack Beckwith, Paul Bork, Peter Burke, I gotta skip that one for a second, Al Donato, Sean Green, I should probably put my glasses on, Mike Madruga, Sean Murphy, Paul Nault, Chris Norris, and Eric Pelkey. We also have two 15-year members who are full-time members of our DFS MFA staff. And these two individuals are certainly go-to people in their respective areas. Certainly two people I go to on a very regular basis because Lord knows I drive them crazy. They are Megan Casares and Christine Dansero. We do have one lone 20-year member who is quite busy in the career recruit program. That is Alex Vulgaris. Again, looking at the 25-year member, we're talking about the all-star category now that we're heading into. 4 individuals who have basically done quite a bit and now taken on, again, additional leadership roles, mentors, and certainly go-to people in their respective areas. Those 4 people are Mark Cogswell, John McLaughlin, Don Poole, and Tom Ronaldo. And then we have 4 individuals who've now hit 30 years. These individuals basically have, in my opinion, the pulses, the fingers on the pulse of our clientele out there. They're the individuals we go to say, hey, what can we do to make it better? How would we make it better? Please show us how to make it better. They go ahead and do that. At the same time, they're basically providing their respective training throughout the Commonwealth. It is greatly appreciated. I know I've seen a couple of them at least. Those are Chris Kelly, Chuck LeBlanc, Brian Whitney, and Dave Wickland.
Yay!
And then finally, we have 2 individuals, 40-year members. These are the guys that basically have taught it, done it, saw it. Individuals that we reach out to across the divisions because of their vast experience, not only in the fire service, but here at MFA. The true leaders of our organization, Jack Bolin and Bob Foley.
Yay, Bob!
Thank you very
The other way
much,
around.
Joe. I think that's it, right? Paul, you have anything? Real.
Vicky, it was a joint award.
Oh. As you heard those names, and I appreciate Dave, you, I don't think everybody knows Barbara Callahan. Would you stand up? So as you heard those names, without a doubt, you heard the people that have created the fabric of this organization. You think about those 40-year, 30-year, 20-year folks that have represented us so well, that have been the brain trust that made this happen. And then we look at the folks, the folks who recently joined us, 5 years and 10 years, who have contributed so much already, and we look forward to continued progress on all the fronts, which are numerous. You heard great things from the divisions about what's going on and where we're heading, and it's so exciting because it's thanks to your efforts that we're able to keep doing the things that we've always done, but also being able to address those things that confront us and confront our customers as we go forward. So with that, we congratulate all of the people who were recognized today. We thank all of you for your time, to take the time today to hear about the good work that's going on across the department. And I look forward to our continued work together. Before we take off, I would totally be remiss if I didn't just recognize the deputy. because for way too long, she's been doing multiple jobs and without a complaint, mostly.
I don't know about that.
But she's really stepped up, and I can't say enough. And I don't want this opportunity to go by without recognizing Maribel for her great work. And as we adjourn, I welcome everybody also to head over to the CAF. We have some light refreshments, and thanks for joining us today.